What if I told you that one of the greatest comebacks in NBA history happened? Not just because of skill, but because of heart. A story where a legend, against all odds, rose from the pain, silenced his critics, and reminded the world just what it means to be great. Stay with me, because this is the Larry Bird versus Chuck Person saga that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The tension in the arena was thick, almost palpable. Fans packed the stadium, their eyes glued to the court, not just for another regular game, but for something bigger, something historic. The Boston Celtics, led by their captain Larry Bird, were up against the Indiana Pacers, with Chuck Person standing tall on the other side, ready to challenge Bird like few others had. The backstory of these two players wasn't just about basketball. It was personal. It was about pride. It was about grit. And above all, it was about proving who was the true king of the court. From the very first whistle, you could feel the intensity rising. It wasn't just a game. It was a battle. The kind of battle that every sports fan dreams of. It was Larry Bird, one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball, going head-to-head with Chuck Person, a player who wasn't intimidated, a player who wasn't about to back down. But, as we all know, this story wasn't just about the rivalry. It was about the incredible twist of fate that would make this game unforgettable. Larry Bird, a player known for his relentless work ethic and icy composure, wasn't in the prime of his career. No, by the time this rivalry had escalated, Larry Bird had already been through years of wear and tear. His body, battered from countless seasons of relentless competition, was starting to show the signs of aging. His back, in particular, had become a constant issue, the kind of injury that could have ended the career of many athletes. Yet Bird, he was far from finished. He wasn't about to let something like a bad back stop him. As he walked onto the court, despite the obvious pain in every movement, the crowd went wild. The legend was ready to face off against Chuck Person, and they knew it was going to be a showdown for the ages. But there was a twist, the kind of twist that makes stories like these unforgettable. Chuck Person had spent the early moments of the game trash-talking with Bird, testing the waters, trying to get under Larry's skin. But this wasn't just casual banter. Chuck knew exactly what he was doing. He was pushing Bird, seeing how far he could take it. He was looking for a reaction. The intensity grew with every exchange, each shot fired, each word spoken between the two. You could see the flames of competition sparking, not just from the players, but from the fans as well. They were here for more than just basketball. They were here for a show. It wasn't long before the inevitable happened. Larry Bird, always a fierce competitor, responded. His trash talk, known throughout the NBA, wasn't just words, it was a weapon. It was an edge that few could match. But Chuck Person? Chuck wasn't backing down. As the game wore on, the tension between the two men reached a boiling point. There was something special about this rivalry. It wasn't just the basketball skills on display, it was the mind games, the mental battle, the war of wills. Bird, as always, was in control, but Chuck wasn't letting up. He was right there with him, pushing back at every turn, matching Bird's intensity with his own. And as the game wore on, it became clear that this wasn't just another game. It was the game that would define them both. But then, something happened, something that no one could have expected. As Bird, always the fierce competitor, made a move to push past Chuck Person, something went wrong. In a collision that left the crowd gasping, Bird was knocked to the floor. The sound of his body hitting the court echoed through the stadium. The arena went silent. Was this it? Was this how the legend of Larry Bird would end? He lay there, his back already in agony, his body battered from years of grueling games. And now this. The intensity, once so high, now hung in the air as a stillness settled over the crowd. But then, something incredible happened. Larry Bird, with the weight of the entire game and the future of his career on his shoulders, slowly began to rise. The pain in his body was overwhelming, but his heart was stronger than anything else. With every step, you could see the agony etched on his face. But you could also see something else, a fire, a refusal to quit. And that fire? It burned through every ounce of pain in his body. As Bird got up, the stadium erupted. Not just in applause, but in pure admiration. This wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about watching a man fight through every challenge life had thrown at him, Every injury, every obstacle, and still, with unwavering determination, stand tall. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. While Bird was struggling to stay on his feet, Chuck Person and the Pacers began to smell blood. They knew this was their moment. They knew Larry was hurt, and they weren't going to let up. The Pacers pushed forward, and soon, they found themselves with the lead. Bird, still hurting, wasn't able to do much from the sidelines. It seemed like this might be the moment where the Pacers would finally defeat the mighty Celtics. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, something even more dramatic happened. The camera zoomed in, and there he was, Larry Bird, emerging from the tunnel, his face determined, his body broken, but his spirit unyielding. He was back. The crowd went wild. The Celtics bench erupted. Bird was walking back onto the court despite all the pain, despite the concussion, despite the odds. And just like that, the game flipped. The Pacers, stunned, didn't know how to react. The energy in the arena had shifted. Larry Bird was back, and with him came the belief that anything was possible. As Bird stepped onto the court, the Celtics' performance surged. Every time he touched the ball, there was a sense of purpose. Every pass, every shot, every move felt like it had the weight of history on it. And in a matter of minutes, the Celtics had regained control. From a three-point deficit, they now led by 13. It was the kind of turnaround that only a player like Larry Bird could orchestrate. The game became a battle of wills, a test of who could endure more, who could fight through the pain. And as the final minutes of the game ticked away, the Pacers, despite their valiant effort, couldn't match the heart and soul that Larry Bird was pouring into every possession. With the final buzzer, the Celtics had won. The scoreboard read 110-96, but in reality, it was so much more than that. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Larry Bird had fought through pain, through injury, and through adversity to lead his team to victory. And in doing so, he proved something far more significant. That greatness isn't just about physical ability. It's about heart, about determination, about pushing forward when everyone else would quit. As Bird walked off the court that night, his face battered, his body exhausted, the fans knew they had just witnessed something special. They had seen a legend rise from the ashes. They had seen a player who embodied everything that basketball and sports in general were about. And for Chuck Person, he had seen firsthand what it meant to go up against a true giant, a player who, even when knocked down, would always get back up. This wasn't just another basketball game. This was Larry Bird at his finest, showing the world that no matter the pain, no matter the obstacle, the true champions always find a way to win. And as the years go by, this game will only grow in legend. The story of Larry Bird's incredible comeback will continue to be told, not just as a highlight of his career, but as a moment that defines what it means to be great. Because greatness, as Bird showed us that night, isn't about playing through ease. It's about playing through the hardest moments and still managing to come out on top. But before we wrap up this incredible story, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We've got more legendary tales from the world of sports coming your way, and you won't want to miss them.